You've eaten Gotham's wealth, its spirit, but your feast is nearly over.
This is not my home. It's an operating table. And I'm the surgeon. Why aren't you laughing?
From this moment on, none of you are safe.
Welcome to the Batman Book Club, a podcast exploring the Dark Knight Library. I'm your host, Ryan Lauer. The Batman Book Club is a proud member of the Batman Podcast Network, hosted by Batman on Film. Just go to batmanonfilm.com, click on podcasts, and you'll find the Batman Podcast Network that has a whole list of other Bat-related shows that also like to dive into other nerdy subjects that all of us, including our leader in this department, love to frolic about in our free time. Our leader, Peter Vera, loves to frolic. He's a frolicker. Don't listen to him. He frolics. Batman Book Club is also on Patreon. If you want to help support the show, keep those generators running in the Wayne Manor study, and join the others that have joined patreon.com/thebatmanbc. Much appreciated, everyone who has thrown some support through that website. Now, thank you for listening to episode 188, Dreadful Birthday, Dear Joker. Joining me for this discussion, he's a man whose voice you've heard on this show quite a few times. He is the CEO of Yaws Incorporated. He is the J of Yaws. It is Sir J Yaws. Hello, Jay. Welcome back to the Batman Book Club.
I'm not only the owner of
Yes.
Yaws Incorporated, I'm also a member.
Hey, all right. You've got your
know
card.
what that means, but
I don't either, but it
Yeah,
carries
well.
some weight. I was trying to think real quick because it's so funny to me how fast time moves by. And I was like, the last time that you were on was Way for Me, right?
yes.
And that was August. It really felt like, I think he was on here in November. That was pretty soon.
Yeah.
And then I started to backtrack. I'm like,
Yeah, it didn't
hold on,
feel like
hold the phone.
that long ago, but yeah.
That was the end of summer of 2023. Holy crap. This is wild. It's wild.
Time is a meaningless construct. I've said it before, and I
Yeah.
will say it again. Time
Yep.
is meaningless.
We just keep on moving. Next thing we know, you'll be on again. And I'm like, Jay, seriously, like this, you were just on. And he's like, Ryan, it's 2025.
Yeah. Let's
like, oh yeah.
Let's hope it doesn't take that long. But then again, I mean, you have a packed schedule, which is a good problem to have. So
Oh yeah. I think
if I have to wait till 2025 to be on for, gosh, what would that be? My eighth go around?
Something like
think
that. I meant
so.
to count. I apologize.
It's okay.
But
I think it's.
I like to try to play a game and just not go through, like backtrack the list and find that way, but like to try and remember of just like, okay, what books did we talk? And it's like I always instantly know Mudpack and the holiday special of the Batman Adventures.
Those
and then I start
two.
to go, wait, hold on, what was after that?
And then we've done the trio, the trilogy that I set out for of Strange Apparitions, Dark Detective,
Yes.
and Pray for Me, and also Untold Legend of the Batman.
There we go. Yep.
So this, I think this makes 7.
Prior to this, it was 6 appearances, and as we all know, 6 is good.
6, yeah,
6 is good.
6.
Yes, Strange Apparitions. When you called that one, it still surprises me sometimes for certain stories and stuff how long it takes for somebody to choose. And that one, I think it surprised me. I was really excited about the time that we were going to get to talk about it, but I was also surprised. I was like, wow, I don't remember what episode it was even, but however long it was, that was your 3rd time on. And I was like, oh, wow, really? It took us this long to get to Strange Apparitions.
Yeah, and that one and Untold Legend of the Batman, I was
Yeah.
surprised no one claimed that one either.
Yep. Yeah,
And
exactly.
I'm glad no one claimed it because I like talking that one. But
Well,
hey,
yes, there you go. Let's go ahead and get to the one that you did choose today, because I've got some words, okay? So
that we mutually chose,
that we mutually okay.
which we'll get into.
You go get into it. You chose it. All right, let's light the candle, as you said, and talk a little Dreadful Birthday, Dear Joker. This single issue story is Batman issue number 321. It was written by the great, and I do mean that, the great Len Wein, with art by Walt Simonson, colors by Dick Giordano. The cover, we're going to talk about the cover.
Dick Giordano was the inker. Glynis Wein was the colorist.
Did they scratch her? Wait, hold on. Let me look at this. I'm not going to question you. I'm just saying, like, wait, hold on a second here. What did I know when I talked about Len Wein last time. Wait, it was for Untold Legends.
Yeah.
That's right. I'm sorry. Yeah, artists, Walt and Dick, under artists. That's right. And I didn't even look under the second line. So thanks for correcting me there. Glynis Wein, because she also did the Untold Legend of the Batman. There we go.
Yes. Yep.
There we go. So you saved me there. I'd have been canceled.
Dodge that bettering.
Yeah.
Bullet. Whatever.
Although it's funny that Glynis Wein in this, but online it says Glynis Oliver.
I think
maiden name
they were, or a remarried name maybe, because I think Glynis and Len were married.
Okay.
So
all
maybe
right. I did too.
Divorce. I don't know. Let me
who knows? All right. Quick Google searching. That's what Jay does.
I'm gonna while I do that, you can go ahead with you.
All right. Let's hope I don't screw up any other stats. Let's see the cover by the great Jose Luis Garcia Lopez, and the cover we're going to talk about one of the most iconic, I think, Batman comic book covers. You know it. Trust us. You know it. You've seen it before. This sucker, what I saw online. Now it has a cover release of March of 1980, and what I saw online was that it was actually released in December of 1979, so a couple months ahead, which I know sometimes we're used to that sort of deal. The covering month is ahead of when it actually releases. The book obviously is available physically. From when I saw some things online today, it was like $30 for the issue, the original. That's not too bad. It's available digitally. It's available on DC Universe Infinite Ultra. It's been with single issue stories all the time. It's collected in a bunch of collections. So I can't say this is it. I've tracked down the only places it's been reprinted. But what I did see was reprinted in the Greatest Joker Stories Ever Told. And then that basically the Joker's 80th anniversary back in 2020, like the 80 years of Joker, I think, of the Clown Prince of Crime, the deluxe edition. And then
both of those make sense.
Okay. And then Tales of the Batman, Len Wein. All right, Jay, did you discover something?
Yes. Glynis Oliver was married to Len Wein for a time.
There we go.
They divorced. She returned to her maiden name in 1985, according to the Wikipedias.
Okay. There we go. Which version did you read for this discussion, Jay?
I just pulled up the issue on DC Universe Infinite. DC Infinite.
Are you an Ultra member?
Yes, technically.
Okay. So
it's not my membership; it's shared membership.
Because when I looked that up, I saw that I was kind of intrigued that it was not just the Infinite; it was the Infinite Ultra. When I looked online, I read it much like I read from the last time that we talked. My Tales of the Batman Len Wein collection.
Beautiful one.
Wonderful book. I believe it is like a delicious 630 page collection of stories, over 630 pages from the great Len Wein. One of the greatest Batman writers, in my opinion. What do you remember when the first time was that you read this story?
I really don't. I really want to say it was when I read through that collection years and years and years ago, but the Len Wein collection. But I don't really remember if I read the whole thing or if I just read Untold Legend of the Batman from that, because it's been so long. I'm almost positive I read the whole thing. If it wasn't then, it may have been flipping through like one of the Joker ones, either
Hmm.
probably more likely the Joker's 80th, which if I read it from there, it was specifically to read it
Hmm.
because I'd heard people talking about, how great of an issue it was, and I wanted to read it. So
Hmm.
read it in there. Um, if it wasn't then, it was a couple weeks ago, but I don't think it was a couple of weeks ago because there were elements of the story that I was like, this is super familiar. So
Yeah.
I had to have read it at least once before that.
I should have mentioned that this Tales of the Batman Len Wein, as well as the 80 Years of the Clown Prince of Crime, and probably greatest Joker stories ever told, are all available on my favorite app of all time, Hoopla.
Hoopla, hoopla.
Okay. Um, I can't sit there and picture the first time that I read this. Like I do remember I was wearing shorts and it was a warm July. No, but I know I bought this book, Tales of the Batman Len Wein, as soon as it was available because I the first one of these that I ever bought was I always get them mixed up. I think so it's yeah, Tales of the Batman and then Legends of the Dark Knight, these
Yeah.
collections. And the first one I bought was Tales of the Batman Gene Colan, and I really liked that and exposed me to a lot of stories that I'd never read before. So anytime one of these came out, I bought it right away. And this one came out in 2014, much like I said this last time, I'm sure too. And I know when I as soon as I got this is one of those things that I got it and I read it. I didn't pick up anything else. I read this from beginning to end and then continued on. So somewhere in these 600 pages, when I first got this, that's when I read it.
I mean, it's 600 pages of great Batman, so
Yeah,
you could do
yeah,
worse.
exactly. Right. And then lastly, do you remember why and how we came around to this being your book of choice for this appearance?
I think it might have been after Untold Legend of the Batman, when we were still waiting to schedule Batman Elmer Fudd.
Hmm.
And we were just talking about, what to do next and everything. And you, I think, just pulled this out and said, how about this? Because I see this cover every single day when I'm in my office
Oh, do
working.
you?
Yes, I do.
Hmm.
Because I won a bracket challenge
Yeah, you
for
did.
a little podcast called the Batman Book Club.
Hey, the Batman
Um,
Puzzle Club.
yes, and one of the prizes you sent me was a 1,000-piece puzzle
Mhm.
that makes the cover of Batman 321, and it has a cool little poster in it. So I got a little frame for that poster and hung it up. It's
Nice.
on my wall right here below my Tom King, Mitch Garrett's Mr. Miracle poster, and right next to
Awesome.
my Gotham City 14 miles little tin sign. So
Sweet.
you said, hey, may I make a suggestion or something along those
Yeah.
lines? And you pulled this out, and I was like, hey, whatever. We I think we both were into this because it wouldn't be nearly as much homework, not having to do 4, 5,
Yeah.
6, 12 issues of a story, which is always great. But
Always fun.
sometimes it's nice to read 17 pages of a Batman story and be
I was gonna
done.
say, not even like a full issue of 22, 23 pages. It was 16, 17. And I was like, oh man, I forgot about this. I think maybe how it came about was because I kept waiting, and then finally the Tales of or Legends of the Dark Knight Jose Luis Garcia Lopez book was coming out,
Mm,
and it kept getting postponed, and I might have brought that up to you, and the cover of that book is the cover of this.
mm.
And so for whatever reason, my mind was like, oh yeah, because he did the art for that. And I'm sure you were like, Ryan, yet again, you're misinformed. He did not do the interior art of that. He just did the cover. So maybe that's how it got put on our brains.
Could
And then it
be.
was just like I know I've read this and I know I've read it a couple times, but for some reason I'm fuzzy on it. I can't tell you what all happened. And so it was a delight to revisit. And I think when we talked about it after last time you were on, I even came out and I grabbed this book off my shelf and I just sat down and read it. I was like, all right, well, I've got one reading in me um, before we record again. And then, yeah, this is like a piece of cake. I read this yesterday and then I read it again today
Nice.
because
Nice.
I mean, it really isn't that much of a time. time sucker.
But it's not like, I mean, it's still a good full meal of a story,
Yep,
which I like.
exactly.
It's
Yeah,
not like a super decompressed,
yeah.
nothing happens. You can read it in 3 minutes and be done.
And we'll get to this for sure, but because I'm gonna bring it up, so might as well just come out the gate with it. This felt so much in line with the vibe of Joker stories or Joker episodes from Batman the Animated Series.
Oh, absolutely.
To where I almost like sat and like in reading this thinking they had to have adapted parts of this into an episode. It just felt way too like Batman the Animated Series to me.
Yeah, I really don't think they do, but it is very much of that vibe. I
Yeah,
mean, it kind of helps because some of the stories that came around this time that they did adapt, like,
yeah.
the Sign of the Joker / the Laughing Fish,
Hmm.
um, came uh came from this era, like the
Yeah.
Bronze Age, the late 70s, early 80s, somewhere around there. So it makes sense that even if it hasn't been adapted into animation, it would still feel that way because it just kind of matches the overall tone and feeling of other stuff that has.
Well, and then the like a little bit of like bleeding over, even if you will, of Strange Apparitions, because in that trade paperback collection, the last two issues are not written by Steve Englehart, but are written by Len Wein.
Yeah, yeah.
And so it kind of it fits into that time period of like of Strange Apparitions. I think the art I think kind of blends well. The look of the Joker when he first arrives in the story, I think feels very Marshall Rogers Strange Apparitions. And I obviously mean that in a very positive and good way. I
Oh, of
think
course.
the coloring is good to where those are just things like yeah, I did. I just kept thinking like, man, this could have been such a fun, good animated series episode. And then the dc.fandom.com, uh, always a valuable resource to go to. Under trivia, says the dialogue on the last panel of this story between Commissioner Gordon and Batman was adapted into the last scene of the episode, The Laughing Fish, from
Oh,
Batman the Animated Series. And
makes
that
sense.
yeah, the dialogue on that, Gordon says, "Do you think he's really gone this time, Batman?" And Batman says, "Believe me, Commissioner, I'd like to think so, but in my heart of hearts, I doubt it."
Mm,
There you go. It's all connected.
dramatic sting.
Dramatic sting. All right, so you kind of just you said it a little bit, but I mean, go ahead and just kick us off with like, what are just how do you like what do you think of this issue?
I mean,
Sorry.
it's just, I mean, like a lot of issues from this time period. It's just a great, it's not an issue that if you're reading anything leading up to it or after it,
Hmm.
you're going to binge a lot of them because, I mean, they feel like I said, like a full meal. Like you're not just getting a little appetizer or nibble. It's like, I just want to read, a really solid done in one Batman story.
Hmm.
This is a really solid done in one Batman story. It has,
Yeah.
a very fun, silly conceit behind it. Um, it has a great hook. It's Joker kidnapping people to celebrate his
It's
birthday.
what we love. It's what we want to see. Joker kidnapping people.
Well, no, I mean it's a Joker that I want to see. Really,
Hmm.
a guy who, I mean, I wouldn't go so far to say that he's not a homicidal maniac, but that's not all he is. Like he's there more for the jokes and the gags and the laughs, where you don't know if what is going to happen at the end is he's actually
Yeah.
going to blow up everybody on this, that he's
Hmm.
strapped to this giant cake, or if they're just going to be like sparklers and streamers coming out after he gave everybody, like a conniption fit because they were so afraid that he was going to blow them up, and that in itself was the joke. um that's a much more interesting Joker to read than someone who's just going to go around and, like cut people's faces off, and that's all there is to him. He's all about the joke. It's the distillation of in whatever happened to the Cape Crusader, where the Joker pulls up, to this the wake for Batman, and like the guy, running the door or whatever, or the valet or whatever, is like terrified of the Joker. And Joker's just talking about something, going on and on, barely paying attention to the guy. And the guy is like, aren't you gonna kill me? And the Joker said, what would be so funny about killing you and everything. That's what I like about the Joker, is he doesn't kill someone just to kill them. He would kill them because it's funny. He would throw a pie in their face because he thinks it's funny. So I like that. It's a more unpredictable, unhinged Joker, but still very much of the time that it came out, where this Joker was just, a clown prince of crime. And that's just much more interesting to me than a Joker who's just all an embodiment of evil, which is just boring.
Yeah. And I think so with this being, I want to count, flipping through 17, with this being 18 pages, nothing, like no panels are wasted.
Nope.
But nothing feels rushed.
No.
We hop into it. If anything, we have one page that's kind of like a description to get us ready. You turn the page, and then Gordon opens up, a letter that was left to him. And, dear Gordy, you are cordially commanded to be present at the Joker's birthday party tomorrow evening at 9 p.m. Black tie optional, funny hats mandatory. RSVP, BYOB. And then in another great fashion of all the police officers there in that lobby just start laughing, and then Joker has his entrance, and he takes Gordon in the Joker mobile. And we're off and running.
Which is incredible. I love the Joker mobile.
You're hearing it here first. In the Batman Part 2, Matt Reeves is bringing in the Joker mobile. It's going to zoom right down the streets of Gotham. It's going to look just like this.
I certainly hope so. Giant Joker face and just a bubble dome. But you mentioned Gordon, and that there's 18 pages, nothing's wasted. You also get anything really you'd want from a Batman story. There's a little bit of mystery here. You've got Gordon, Alfred, Robin shows up, Selena Kyle. I think at this point she was trying to be a hero, so I think that's what was going on with her character.
I didn't have the time to binge this because it got me into like I think last time that I read this, I was very much like, I want to kind of go back and follow what is her storyline right now in this, that she's just in the penthouse with Alfred, basically waiting for Bruce. And she's in, which we know that she is / was Catwoman, because when Joker busts in, he's like, oh, Selena, and he's very aware of what she does for, her other side. But she's just up there for that, and she gives Batman a little information, and then she's out. So I want to, I kind of want to follow that, and as I flip through the book, I can see that she returns to her full getup in the purple costume. So I don't know. I'll read that. So off and running in perfect like Joker fashion. So in his full getup, all I could picture was that Batman 451 cover that Brayfogle illustrated, where he's got like a Tommy gun and Batman's behind him, and he looks just like this. That's all I could think about with this, and I'm like, man, that's such a fun comic book image that's also ingrained in my memory, because that was 451 was one of the first comics I ever had. So of course, like that was my image of the Joker. So anything that looks like that, I'm gonna be like, oh my gosh, that's the joke. You know.
I do like this look for the Joker.
Yeah, it
The
looks fun.
long
Mhm.
chin, the really, really tall, wiry frame, and
Yeah,
yeah, the purple hat and coat and
I
everything.
love purple. Yeah, all that looks great, and I think it's almost like as malleable as Batman is, Joker is almost like maybe like the same level of malleable, you know, because he fits in a lot of molds. You can get, you can this Joker by Azzarello and Bermejo, that Joker, which is like rated R Joker, extreme. You can get Batman the Brave and the Bold Joker, which is Dick Sprang, funny, PG. You can get this Joker, which I feel is a very safe PG-13, fits very much in line with Jack Nicholson from '89, and it's like, and none of those versions to me feel like, what the hell is that? That does not work. Some people with the Azzarello Bermejo is like, that's not my thing. I don't like that. To me, I feel like he just, pending the story, you can fit him to fit that mold as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've soured on the Azzarello Joker
Hmm.
over the years, but I mean, I will say it's the unpredictability that makes him malleable.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
being able to say, okay, here's a goofy guy that just wants fish to have his smile so he can market it and make
Hmm.
money off of it, versus someone who will be vengeful and everything. There are elements of what the Joker is and can be and should be, in either
Hmm.
one.
Yeah.
So even though I don't necessarily like the story or the portrayal of the Joker, I mean, I can at least see that it, can fit in that mold somewhat. Whereas, like you said, this is just very much a, not safe because, he still wants to,
Yeah.
cause harm to people and everything. But
Yeah.
it's still, a Joker that you don't necessarily feel bad about enjoying reading about and laughing at, because
Yeah.
he is silly and wacky, but he's also dangerous.
Hmm. Absolutely. Um, it's funny to me that Batman has to hear from cops that Robin was kidnapped, and we get a quick little flashback, but I love the total uh what was it? He stopped to help a damsel in distress,
Yes.
except that damsel wasn't no lady. And the way it's drawn is as if Joker took a paper bag off his head, and that was the very
That
the
he just
great
used lipstick
yes.
to color on it.
The Mission Impossible realistic mask was actually just a paper bag all along. Um,
Yeah.
but I mean, his partner, his partner's been kidnapped. Gordon's been kidnapped, and then, like we said, the interaction with Selena Kyle's, because Joker takes his good old, hot air balloon marketed with the Joker smile on it. It crashes into the penthouse and takes Alfred too. Uh,
does he does he kidnap Lucius? I don't think he
he
does,
does
because he's
he does not.
there, which makes
But
sense that he'd be there because Len Wein created Lucius Fox. But yeah, I think he leaves before the Joker shows up.
yeah, so what I really like when we get to that page where while in the crime clown's hidden hacienda,
Yes, I
I
love
always love
that.
that. Yep.
I love
The
that.
hacienda. Um, that panel, it was like, oh, because as he starts to say of like he's gonna get people who've crossed him, and it's like Robin, Gordon, Alfred, and Mark, Jerry, Tom.
Yeah.
Like it's just a dude. And I was kind of like, I don't know
And then
who
some lady
that
in a
is.
yellow dress.
Yep.
Um,
Because they done
I
him
think
they done him wrong.
yeah, yeah. Maybe
Okay.
they were former lackeys who,
There you go.
I mean, fitting in with You know how the Joker really is like a force of nature who can pop up anywhere. Maybe they went into like witness protection and he went and found them and yeah, brought him back to celebrate his birthday.
Yeah. I mean, it's there for you to create your own backstory,
Yeah.
whoever you want them to be. But what follows is perfect to what you kind of have just been saying like 5 and 10 minutes ago with the Joker. And this is absolutely what the Joker has to have in all of these different interpretations is unpredictability. And his as he says about it's not exactly the catcher's mitt I really wanted, but it's a pretty fair second place. And you see the one goon's laughing, but then you see another one say sheesh. And I love that next panel of like half of Joker's face in the close up with the goon behind him. And he's just like, I don't hear you laughing, Sydney. And you see that like, oh, panic. And then Joker's gonna shoot him, bang, you're dead. And then blam, and actually and like gets him on like that. Nope. Just it's a fake gun, bang, you're dead, pops out on the flag. A little bit of relief from Sydney, and then the real boom, blam, excuse me, and shoots and kills him. That's such like bravo. That's the Joker stuff that like that's him. Get us
Yeah.
that in however whatever fashion, however family friendly or however dark and evil, but like that's the Joker.
I
And
mean,
got it.
it's like the you know, the pencil trick in the Dark Knight.
Yep.
You laugh not because it's funny, but because
Haha, man's dead. Ha ha ha.
it's so unexpected and so over the top violent.
Yeah.
Um
Yep.
that and this is that same in that same kind of vein there, you know, like
Yeah.
like you were saying, you know, has the trick gun with a little bang you're dead flag, and it ends up being a spear gun that
Yeah.
kind of gruesomely that panel where he actually shoots Sydney with it with the
Mhm.
blam and the red kind of splattery background behind it on the sound effect, you know, is probably as close as they could have gotten to like a blood splatter back then. But
Yeah. I agree.
it's still pretty visceral.
Yeah. And then like that next panel, there's, an absence of blood. So hey, you can let your imagination wander if you want it to. If not, hey,
And then
it's just words.
Joker has a fun line when Robin says, "You're out of your mind, Joker," and he says, "Gloriously so, isn't it
Yeah.
wonderful?"
Isn't it wonderful? Can't you hear Mark Hamill?
Oh,
I
absolutely.
can hear Mark Hamill for this. Another reason why I was just like, yeah, this definitely animated series. This
Yes.
this feels animated series to me. Um, all of this because he has to have this big birthday celebration, and he's bringing in the whole city of Gotham because the Gotham Gazette. He's got a published little invitation of the Harlequin. Always catches me off guard because you just think Harley Quinn, and you have to like pump the brakes, rewind. No, this was 13 years before Harley Quinn.
Do you think that's why she's named Harley Quinn?
No,
Is
no,
after Harlequin?
no, Jay.
I'm just kidding.
No, no way. Don't you stop it right there. You
No, I
brilliant man. You've cracked the code.
no, I mean, when I was flipping through it earlier, I came upon the you know, Gotham Dome or whatever with Harlequin,
Mhm.
and I was like, how is Harley in this? Oh wait, never mind.
Yeah, it's so crazy of how ingrained in our minds she is as a staple in Gotham and Joker, and yet you come
This
across just that
preceded
word.
her. This preceded her by,
Yeah.
you know, 15 years, something like
Yeah.
that.
I like the little but the invite or whatever, the announcement, however you want to call it, that he puts in the Gotham Gazette. The Harlequin Baking Company proudly invites all of Gotham City to sample its wares tomorrow at 9 p.m. at the Seaside Coliseum. Um, love the fact if there's one thing nobody can resist, it's and then I mean continues. I think that's a fun progression of story of having, just two randos in Gotham finish the Joker's sentence. But it's a way to what? Bring in that Batman is onto it. That Batman, the Dark Knight detective, that he just figures a very generous offer, except for one little detail. The Harlequin Baking Company does not exist. The Joker has finally made his first mistake. Classic
Which
Batman.
which is a very Batman 66 line.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
But the Joker made one mistake, Robin. The Harlequin Baking Company does not exist.
Does not
To the
exist.
Batmobile.
Yes. The Joker has finally made his first
Gosh,
mistake.
Batman.
Let's go. I do like the woman saying, about the man saying sounds tempting, think we gotta go, who read it in the paper, and she says, why not? It'd beat sitting through another rerun of Celebrity Bowling. Fun fact, first episode I ever saw of Celebrity Bowling, Frank Gorshin was on it.
Oh,
Look at that, because it's all connected.
it is
Um,
all connected.
the big Seaside Coliseum, just for some reason that instantly popped in my head of the big top in Batman Forever.
Mm,
I need to now go look up that image and see how different they actually are. But for some reason I was just like, this whole setup, lights and all that right next to the seaside, right by the water. I'm like, oh, it gives me Batman Forever vibe for some reason.
No, no, no.
And
I totally feel
you're
it.
with me? All right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I got the Yaws seal of approval. Something that makes
Whatever that's
me
worth.
there's priceless. There's two things that I question here, and not things that make me like, oh, I'm gonna, downgrade the story now. But just questions in my head of, as people start to get impatient and then the doors click shut ominously, and the people are trapped inside, they start to get fidgety, and then abruptly their long wait is over. Hey, what? It's some kind of gas coming from the air vents. So you think like, uh-oh, this is where everybody, the Joker trademark, but nothing happens from it. So it kind of made me wonder of like, what was that? That shot through,
Yeah. I mean, maybe just like a red herring.
Yeah, and which maybe so. And there is darkness. And so it is maybe like, oh, okay, you're waiting for everybody's going to start
Well, I mean,
laughing.
it does say the paralyzing fumes spread swiftly. Within seconds, there's no movement. So maybe it was just
just a paralyzer
form of the Joker toxin that would
That's
just
true.
paralyze them so they wouldn't escape. The thing that gets me is there must not have been anything to do in the 70s for an entire city to go to an event center just to get free samples of baked goods.
Come try our bread for free.
Yes.
At the big old Seaside Coliseum. Hurry, people, hurry. And it's a packed house. But Joker, then the lights come back on. I could kind of envision that of like being a cool piece to watch in animation or something of darkness, and it comes up, lights are on, and there's Joker fully decked out and like, greetings, Gotham, sort of deal. And there's a big old birthday cake with everybody strapped onto it, and it kicks it.
An amazing image. That
Great
birthday
image.
cake is incredible.
Yeah, with a big old Joker face right on it on the front too. And I love Batman's just entrance from the darkness, and the party is over, and basically makes a deal with them, release everybody off their candles, and you can strap me on. In which Joker gave him the I saved you the guest of honor spot, which is the top candle, and then he doesn't. Surprisingly to me, Joker doesn't have some kind of like line, almost like some kind of witty line about lying. He just basically says, you didn't honestly believe me, did you? And that was kind of like, usually I'm kind of used to, I think, in this sort of vibe, that Joker would be like, pull out his hand and he's got his fingers crossed or something like that, instead of just being like, you didn't believe me, did you? Joker has too much fun to say like, but it's opposite day or something like that, again, not a,
or even something, as outlandish as it's not even my birthday,
yes, yeah. Like, I feel like he would have one of those. But again, that's just because I read this, twice and thought about, oh, okay, well, I actually expected, but it's not. Well, now this is like a C, maybe a C plus. No. The other part that got me was when Joker sets off that that candle, and it is like a rocket. Batman goes flying up high. I kind of wonder where he goes because whatever those drawings are in that panel on page 15, like the purple on the ground, I was like, is that supposed to be the city? Is that like, I know it's just shapes of like rectangles, squares, and stuff like that. But I was trying to wrap my head around like, is all this still
Yeah,
in the
I
Coliseum?
think it's in the Coliseum because like zooming in a little bit, it looks like stage lights, like can lights.
Well, that's what I was thinking of too. And yeah, and I know I'm like, but the very next panel shows that Batman's coming down to back to where Joker's on the stage. I'm like, so it's got to be in the Coliseum, but I just couldn't figure out what all those small shapes are representing. And I'm like, I think it's still in the Coliseum.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right, got that settled. Thank heavens. Um, Batman, obviously, he does what he does. He saves the day, saves
Of course.
everybody, but then a chase ensues. Batman goes water skiing on Joker's boat, but then in great fashion, um, Joker gets one last gag as he exchanges in a push and shove grab fight with Batman. Batman's got his hand and his hand pops out. It's the old phony hand up the sleeve gag, sucker. Fantastic.
And I love that he can't even finish his sentence as he's gloating.
Yeah.
That's the second time you've fallen for it. This and then kaboom or womb. That's
Yes.
over.
And the boat crashes, explodes, and then we get the line that we already said earlier about, like, do you think he's this time he's really gone, Batman? Um, which I think is it's a good ending for Joker stories because it is like they don't write themselves into a corner because let's just say that the Joker sits for at this point, like in time, they're like he sits for 10 years. Yeah, people can just be like, well, he died in that boat accident.
Yeah.
He can, nope, I got out of it. Later on. That was like a quick like summary, but like no less of like a fun adventure, you know?
Yeah. Because I mean, again, there's not a lot to the story.
Mm-hmm.
It's more just about the Joker planning for this big party,
Mm-hmm.
kidnapping people, Batman trying to figure out what's going on, and then Batman foiling his plans and the Joker getting away. I mean, it is just more about as cliche as it sounds, the real dreadful birthday for the Joker is the journey to get there and the
Mm-hmm.
friends we made along the way.
Always.
Always. But no, I mean, it's short. It's not any more complex than it needs to be. There's
Mm-hmm.
very little fat on the bone here. It's um there. I mean, there's hardly anything that feels rushed, like you said, feels out of place. It's just a concise, complete story that you can
Mm-hmm.
read in maybe 10 minutes or so, and feel like, what, I read a good Batman story today, and go about your day.
This is one of the greatest Joker stories ever told. They should put it in a book. Um,
Or
I know
several
we
books.
we say yeah, several books. Uh, I know we say a lot of I like we enjoy like big stories in comics that are multiple issues and everything, but then you get almost like palate cleansers, like one-offs like this, where like you said, there's no homework to jump in and read this, and you don't have to read the next issue either. This is just one issue, one story. It's fun. Like pick it off the shelf, put it in your long box. You can grab it whenever you want. And I do miss those.
Yeah.
Um, I think right now I'm trying to think of I think I think Batman Scooby-Doo mysteries have been the most consistent at that of you can pick and choose if you want. Each one is its own freaking thing.
Yeah, because there's no overarching story in all of them. It's just fun little comic, and you can read one, you could read two, you could read all of them.
Yep,
Either way, you're getting as many stories as you are reading issues.
exactly. And there's something that's refreshing about that. I think as we alluded of like, how scary time is. And as you get older, you get less time. So then it does start to feel like, oh man, this is a new ongoing series. Oh, that's gonna be a lot of work. Oh, this is only like a 3-issue Black Label story. Yay!
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
it's only 3 books,
Or it's a one
stuff like
shot.
that.
Yay.
Yeah, even more so. I want to talk about the art because Simonson obviously great artist. But there are some panels in this, so there's definitely some looks or some pages that to me do feel strange apparitions. Um, and then there's some in that's a compliment, but there's like some close-ups that happen that I'm a really big fan of in this one, and it's almost like they're kind of outliers, and it's at the bottom of page 6 of Alfred when you get almost a slightly front shot but angled, but there's like the shading for the shadow on him. I think that stands out because that just looks a little different than all the rest. I think that it's so small, but it's like it's cool. It looks good.
Honestly, that's one of the more Simonson looks that I get from it.
Mm,
Because I think Giordano's inks not necessarily carried a lot of the visuals in this. Because that's not to say Simonson is a bad penciler at all. It's just
yeah.
I think that you can feel like their styles blended together a lot so that it didn't look exactly like Simonson, who I'm mostly familiar with from like his Marvel work,
Mm,
um, like on Thor and everything like that.
hmm.
But yeah, that definitely that Alfred face looks very Walt Simonson. It doesn't look like it's influenced by someone else's inks.
Yeah. Um, I agree with you. The If you flip the page and go to page 8, there's a close-up of Joker, which kind of does a similar thing with some of his right side in shadow. And I think that kind of pops. And then the bottom of that page where you do get more drawing of his like basically his nose down and his jaw, and then like I said, alluded to with half of Joker's face and Sydney on the next page. I think that's like a really great close-up drawn piece.
I love that like those two panels there, and there's several other, even that one on the next page that you
Hmm.
mentioned earlier, where it's a close up of his eye. I
Yeah.
love that there are so many panels where the Joker doesn't fit in the entire frame. Like something's
Yeah.
cut off because his face is just so long and has so many like just angles and curves to it, that it won't fit neatly in a box. I don't
Hmm.
necessarily think that there's anything deep and profound about that, but it is just kind of a just a really cool stylistic choice
Yeah.
of deciding, ooh, in this one I'm just going to focus on his eye,
Yeah.
and you're still going to know it's the Joker. Or I'm going to focus on his trademark smile and his pointed chin, and it just looks really cool, and I just like that a lot.
Uh, I don't have much more to add on the cover, but I did say I was going to compliment it and how I think it's one of the greatest Joker or Batman comic covers of all time of Batman, Robin, Alfred, Gordon, all basically on um I'm blanking at the stake, like getting staked and burned uh to where I know that I saw this image a lot and it was very I saw this image a lot and then noticed, oh, they're candles on a birthday cake.
Yeah.
Because I just saw them like burning at the stake, and I'm like, man, Joker's just setting them on fire. Wow, what
A
an
birthday cake
image.
shaped like his face.
Yes, even freaking better. Like
Yeah,
it's just so like original and it just pops and the like Joker looking at you while his madness is happening behind. It's just such a like holy hell, what's going on in this issue?
it's the perfect type of cover like that because it tells you a story, but not
Hmm.
the complete story. It hooks you and makes you want to find out, why is the Joker beckoning me on with his finger, giving like the, come here gesture, while they're, tied up and on this giant Joker face birthday cake. It
Yeah.
makes you want to pick up the issue and read it.
Yep. And I said, to heck with the issue. Let me buy a 630-page book. I want to read everything.
Again,
Uh,
could do much worse.
it could do much worse. Yeah. Um, are there any other points that you want to bring up that we didn't get to?
No, not really. I mean, it's just I mean, it's a good, like you said, it's a palate cleanser of a comic because
Mhm.
there's not a lot to it in the best way.
Yeah.
You come into it, you read it, you finish it, you had a great time. And that's really like all it needs to be.
Yep. That's all I needed out of this. Um, cool. Well, let me guide us now to the question segment
Ooh,
of the Batman Book
yes.
Club.
Yes, you've got a question?
Jay Yaws, I want to ask you, what was your favorite part of Dreadful Birthday, Dear Joker?
I mean, I like the just overall just ridiculousness of Joker's plan. Just the I mean, it's kind of a cheat to say, the conceit behind the story, but
Mm-hmm.
Joker kidnapping people to tie them to a big Joker themed birthday cake is just incredible.
Yes.
Um, I mean, I do like, the whole escape from it with Batman, like rewiring uh the candle and the rocket and everything, and then
Mm-hmm.
escaping from it and getting everybody out of harm's way, to chase the Joker to his watery grave, quote unquote.
A
um
watery grave.
yeah, but there's, I
But
mean, there's
sorry.
nothing. Sorry. There's, I mean, there, like you said, there's nothing in this that isn't necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so everything, works together. But just, the culmination, the climax of this ridiculousness is just a lot of fun.
Uh, my favorite part, Joker shooting Sydney. Uh, that
Poor
whole
Sydney.
that yeah,
You are
poor
no
Sydney.
Bob the Goon. Poor
He's not.
Sydney.
Get out of here. Uh, just how it starts of you just feel you could like block that second page and when he says that, but it's a pretty fair second place, and you see old Sydney say sheesh while the other one's laughing. You could have not seen the next page, and somebody would have said, "So how do you think this is gonna go?" And you're like, "Oh boy." And then you get to see that each panel is just great, starting with that close up of half of Joker's face, and then the classic Joker move of bang, you're
Mhm.
dead, and the relief of like, oh, it's not a real gun. Oh, yes, it is, Sydney. Blam! Like, I don't know. Joker to me, Joker.
Yeah.
It's Joker.
Kidnapping of
Uh,
Robin is really funny too. That makes me
yes,
laugh
with
every
the
time.
the paper bag mask. We've all been there. Mine never turned out very convincing as a kid. As much as I tried, it did not work. How about your favorite panel?
Favorite panel is
Mm-hmm.
actually on page 15. Um, it's really close between, I love, like, I always love like the like shadow figure effect, whatever, of, like, that's supposed to convey like movement, like acrobatic movement, especially. So I
Mm-hmm.
love that, the how Batman like jumps from one panel into the next.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's really cool. But I think I'm gonna give the edge to the final panel on that same page on 15, where he's just throwing three batarangs, and that just looks so cool. I just love those batarangs flying at us.
Well, Jay, it's because Batman is so cool.
Batman is so cool.
He's so cool. This was tough for me. Um, because that page one, not the first panel, but the bigger panel, I do love that of Gordon just walking in, and through that top window on the right side, you see the bat signal is up. You see
Mhm.
that it's the lobby, and I'm like, Man, that just looks cool. I like the coloring for that.
It's a really cinematic shot. It's like
Yeah, it's
at an angle, and you can see, all this not like a lobby or whatever it is, but yeah, I mean it's a really, really cool establishing shot.
so I was very much like, I think that's it because I like the establishment of it. And this is a Batman. You're like, oh, look at that bat signal shining in the sky outside. Okay, this is in Gotham. But then it's like you turn the page, page three, Batman swooping in, the Joker mobile below. It's like no dialogue. That panel alone, you know what's going on. Batman's going to stop Joker. Okay, I love that. Oh, then you go to, I'm referencing it again, poor Sydney. That first panel on page nine, take it with the dialogue, no other context. I don't hear you laughing, Sydney. Oh geez, boss, I'm sorry. Guess I forgot. You don't need anything else, and you know what the fate of Sydney.
Yeah.
By that. And I'm just like, well, those are the three that stand out. How do I freaking pick? But I have to pick one. And I think it's the first one.
That's
I think it's page one. It's the
entirely fair.
establishment shot. Take away all text, the title, the Batman logo and everything, that image on its own. And it's just like that could be a cool one to frame and put on the wall somewhere. And you're just like, well, yeah, it's Gotham City. I don't know. There's something that's just really cool about it. And I constantly look out my window and I'm like, damn, no bat signal in the sky. Maybe one day. I don't know.
Maybe one day.
Uh, Final question on this. Would you like to see this issue adapted in animation?
Of course. Like like we were
Yeah.
saying earlier, it feels like it should be like a animated series episode.
Yep.
So it makes perfect sense. I mean, now, sadly, with Conroy's passing, we couldn't do that.
Mm-mm.
But honestly, I can hear this as a Diedrich Bader Batman too. Just from this time period, it can kind of go either way with the um more, I mean, the grounded um not like empathetic, but the Batman full of pathos that Conroy has, but
Mm-hmm.
also just the very, straight man Batman that Diedrich Bader brought to the Brave and the Bold. I could
Yeah.
see it fitting well in this kind of story too.
Yeah, I think honestly, all it would have to change is Sydney's fate, in which borrow the punching glove from the Selena moment and instead use it
Yeah,
there. And then I think this totally works for Brave and the Bold, like you just said.
yeah.
You
Or
remove the
even,
one extremely violent, and I say extremely kind of like, but that wouldn't pass for that show, and you just like switch it up, and then I think this could totally work in that regard.
or even, have it, shoot gas out of it or something. So
Yeah,
Sydney
yeah,
gets knocked out, quote
yeah,
unquote.
yeah. Cut to him to Mark. See, he's good. He's
Yeah.
fine. He's
Yeah.
good. But yeah, I mean, I think the best fit for it would have been the animated series. That they're not like obviously that is no more. It's not going to come back in animated show form. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think you can still just change some things, and this is like timeless too. Outside of the celebrity bowling comment, I
Yeah.
feel like it is kind of, I mean, it's kind of timeless, which is a very strong, um, it's like a very strong characteristic of Batman stories is when the best ones are ones that they make kind of timeless
Yeah.
because it
Even the,
works all this time later.
even then, I know Celebrity Bowling was a show, but even if you don't, you could still see that as a show anytime. I mean, having
I'm
a
waiting for it to
celebrity,
happen now.
I mean,
Like,
on it, really, yeah. I mean, the fact that there's not a celebrity bowling show
hmm
revival going on these days
yeah,
is kind of surprising.
yep. Uh, Bowling with the Stars,
Exactly.
right after Dancing with the Stars. We know what I meant. Jay, do you have, or I guess sometimes this can become redundant, but I mean, do you have final thoughts um, for this story, for good old dreadful birthday, dear Joker?
No, other than I always get the title mixed up because I always want to call it Happy Birthday Dreadful Joker, but it's Dreadful Birthday Dear Joker.
Embarrassingly, it took me a long time to realize the play on words and how it's a song, and instead it's dreadful birthday. Like it for embarrassing and how oh my gosh, it was there the whole time.
Yeah.
And I didn't
Yeah,
catch
I
on.
mean, I'm glad, we mutually came to picking this one
Yeah.
together.
Yep.
It's yeah, I mean, it's um not to say that anything that you've been covering lately has been a drag for you or the guests or even us listeners, but it's a nice change of pace, just a simple issue that you're in and out in no time at all, and
Yeah.
you have a good time with it.
I like variety. Um, what was it? It was Nosferatu last month that it took like I sat down and I gave it time. I gave it full focus, and it was great to experience it for the first time and giving it that amount of attention. And it's like it's so fun to go from that to this of let me sit over here for 10 minutes and read a fun throwback
Yeah.
Batman story. It's just great variety. And so, I mean, I echo everything that you just said. This is just a blast of a Batman story, multiple ways that you can get your hands on it if you haven't read it, or if you have and you want to read it again and you're still listening. There's a variety of ways that you can get your hands on it and read it, and I highly recommend it. Even if you have before, do it again
Yes.
because you might have missed something.
Yes.
You might have missed something. Jay, it's always a pleasure having you on the show. Let's not wait till 2025.
Yeah,
Okay,
let's
for you to come back.
do this
Okay.
again soonish.
Okay, soonish, yes. Why don't you go ahead and I didn't thank you, but thank you for coming back on. And why don't you go ahead and plug away anything and everything you'd like?
Thank you for having me, as
Mm-hmm.
always.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy being a semi frequent-ish guest on the show, talking Batman. You can find me personally on different things at JAYAWS or at Comic Pause, PAUSE, on Twitter, Instagram, those kinds of things. Have a blog that I've kind of put a pause in writing
Hey.
semi-regular features just to keep from burnout.
Mm-hmm.
I've still doing some stuff like some merch reviews and everything, but I stopped doing my random Robin series just for a little bit because I did it every week for over a year.
Woo.
And again, I just didn't want it to feel like homework and feel like a chore. So I'm
Yeah.
taking a little bit of time. But I'm always around, happy to talk Batman, other comics, anything, whatever. And
I want to chime in and say you wrote a piece that you sent my way that it directly related to the what do you want? Not directly related, but like is very related to the subject of this podcast and Batman books.
yes,
You wrote a piece on batmannews.com called I look back at Batman the Animated Series novels.
I did. And what's funny is I thought it was a comprehensive list, but somebody shared a link to I think it's batmannovels.com,
Mhm.
which has a list of uh any DC prose work, like based on DC characters you could think of. And sure enough, there's another animated series die novel that I missed.
You got Jay Yaws.
Yeah, I did get Jay.
Or
So
sometimes in my seat I call it you got Robert Reinecke.
nah.
He likes to send me some factoids on things. And I've said before, it's not a slight. I love it when he does send me because it's like, hey, the more you know. And I'm always a student, and he'll
Reinecke,
send some kind of like, hey, here's a little nugget. Here's a little nugget.
Reinecke sounds better.
You got Reinecke, yeah, than Yaws did.
And yeah,
Yeah,
he's a higher level than us all put together. So I would take that more as a compliment that he wants to share the knowledge. But yep, apparently there was, which is weird because I thought like I was Googling like all the
Mhm.
BTAS novels and everything, but no, apparently there was a novelization of Batman Mystery of the Batwoman, and I missed that. So of course I went to eBay and ordered it, and it's on its way.
Okay,
So
there you go.
So I'll probably read that eventually, and then just update the post. But yes, I
Cool.
did that, and I have a couple of other just fun posts coming out soon, like one about the different bat suits, cinematic bat suits, just not ranking them, but going over the pros and cons of each. Trying to find something good and even, something bad to say, something good to say about the ones that, people typically don't like. Like, I found some nice things to say about, Clooney's Batman Forever suit, or Batman and Robin suit, sorry. And then even, some things about suits that are pretty universally liked, like, Keaton's first bat suit and everything. So got that. I've done some toy posts recently as well that were very popular and led to even a guest spot on a Holy Batcast episode.
Hey,
So, yeah, I'm just around. So find me and
he's around. He's doing J things.
J
So
things, Betty things.
doing J things.
J.
As for the Batman Book Club, you can follow it on Instagram and Twitter /X at the Batman BC for latest episode drops, upcoming episodes, sometimes some giveaways. Make sure to subscribe to the Batman Book Club YouTube channel. Pete and I are going to be back in the hot seat going to No Man's Land. That's coming. So subscribe now.
Frolicking through No Man's
Yes. He frolics. I don't know why he protests, but we have video evidence. He's a frolicker. And it's okay, Pete. Join us. We all do. Let's see what else. Oh, if you want to support the show, there's a variety of ways that you can do that. Like I said at the top of the show, patreon.com/the Batman BC. Some new additions, some new supporters jumped on that I'm going to be talking about them in an upcoming episode too, so stay tuned, and much appreciated for everybody who does that. tpublic.com, type in TBBC for the Batman Book Club, and some cool things that you can get with that logo that Justin Kowalski created. But if you want to support the show and you don't want to spend any money at all, it's 100% a-okay. The easiest, quickest, and most impactful thing you can do to help the show is rate and review it. So whichever podcast place did you listen to this? Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Google, iHeartRadio. Just go to the rate and review page and rate and review the show, because the more reviews the show gets, the more it helps spread the word. And as we all know, that word is Panic. So, for Yaws, I am Ryan Lauer. And until next time, read my Batman comics.